Now, Penny Wong once again calling for the establishment of a Palestinian state. But the Foreign Minister has received criticism from the opposition, suggesting Australia couldn't recognise a Palestinian state without agreement from Israel. There are a few competing views and conflicting views on all of this. So let's bring in the Zionist Federation of Australia now, the President, Jeremy Leibler, for his thoughts. So what do you make of the comments by Penny Wong last night and again this morning, Jeremy?
Well, thanks for having me. Look, I welcome the Foreign Minister's reaffirmation that Gaza can have no role in governing the Gaza Strip, not now and not as part of any future Palestinian state. But the idea of flagging now, just 6 months after the October 7 terrorist attacks by Hamas, the most traumatic and horrific attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust, it's just entirely counterproductive and unrealistic to be talking about recognition of a Palestinian state.
So what do you think it's down... sorry, Jeremy, what do you think that's down to then?
Well, I mean, the question is, who is going to lead this state? Is it surely, it's clearly not going to be Hamas in Gaza. Is it going to be the 80-something-year-old president of the Palestinian Authority that's been in power for 16 years after being elected for 4 years, who's corrupt and couldn't bring themselves to even condemn the October 7 attacks? It's just completely unrealistic to even contemplate this.
But the timing, if it's unrealistic to do it, and you're right, it did come on this 6-month anniversary of the war. What do you think is motivating this intervention, so to speak, by the Foreign Minister?
Well, I mean, I think that's really a question for the Foreign Minister. I have no doubt that this government wants to do whatever it can to contribute towards a peaceful resolution of this conflict that, the last 6 months have been horrific for both innocent Palestinians in Gaza as well as for Israelis who are still reeling. There are still 500,000 Israelis displaced from their homes. But I can't comment on the government's motivations. That's a question for them.
Sure.
What I can say is that the idea now of even flagging this, I can only see this as a reward for the Hamas terror attacks. That's how this will be interpreted. And what, I think that our government and all Western governments should be doing at the moment is standing by very clearly Israel's right to defend itself and to remove Hamas from power. For those that want a two-state solution, and I want a two-state solution, Peter, the Jewish community wants a two-state solution.
Okay, so very good, because I was going to ask you that very question just then. So now that you want a two-state solution, but I mean, is that realistically going to be achieved? And where are the lines? Are you going back to 1967's map here?
There is no one in Israel, from the left, from the right, that thinks there is a two-state solution that is going to happen tomorrow. But if we want to create an environment for a two-state solution, let's learn from all of our collective mistakes. Let's learn that we can't accept a situation where Palestinians are teaching hate in their schools. Let's learn from our mistakes that we can't turn a blind eye to corruption and misuse of funds. Let's ensure that the hate in the textbooks are removed and that the Palestinian Authority stops paying the families of terrorists and suicide bombers and describing them as martyrs.
Do you think, sorry, Jeremy, I'm just almost out of time, so I'm just trying to squeeze in here. Do you think if there is a two-state solution, if it is achieved, and remembering here that Hamas does not recognise Israel's right to exist, do you think that view would change if it had its own state?
Hamas is a genocidal terrorist organisation in the same ilk as ISIS or the Taliban. There is no role, and to the government's credit, the Foreign Minister has acknowledged and made it clear that Hamas can have no role in the future of any Palestinian state or even in governing Gaza, and she's 100% right about that. What we do need to do to create an environment for a two-state solution at some point in the future is cultivate the next generation of moderate Palestinian leaders that are prepared to accept Israel's right to exist alongside a future Palestinian state. Until we have that, until we have basic freedom of speech, democratic elections within the Palestinian areas, all we will be doing is supporting Palestinian dictatorships to oppress their own people and continue the conflict with Israel.
Jeremy Leibler, we will leave it there. Thanks for your time, though. We'll talk to you soon.